short outline because it gives us a good idea of what's going on. But Scott last week, he did 1 Kings 1. So we're in 1 Kings 2. So we're going to start reading. Now the day David drew near that he should die, and the charge Solomon, his son, says, I go the way of the earth, be strong therefore, and prove yourself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes, his commandments, his judgments, and his testimony, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do, and wherever you turn, that the Lord may fulfill his word which he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, he said, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. So he starts out right at the beginning, and what does he do? He's on his deathbed. He's about 70 years old here, and while he's on his deathbed, he gives the reign over to Solomon. But he tells him, make sure you're walking with the Lord, don't he? His first thing is, you need to keep the commandments. You need to keep for the judgments and everything, and testimony. You have to follow this, and God made a promise to us. If you do that, we will retain the throne. So he knew right away, David knew, this is one of the important things. He knew for Solomon, he had to be following the laws of Moses. He had to be doing what the laws of God were, the commandments. He couldn't be stepping away from it. So what's he doing? He's warning his son right away. The first thing he does is give him a warning. And then after that, he says in verse 5, he said, moreover, you know also that Joab, the son of Zechariah, did to me, and what he did to the two commanders of the army of Israel, to Abner, the son of Ner, Abner, the son of Sheba, whom he killed, and he shed the blood of war in peacetime, and put the blood of war on his belt that was around his waist, and on his sandals that were on his feet. Therefore, do according to your wisdom, and do not let his gray hair grow down to the grave in peace. But show kindness to the son of Barzillai, the Gideonite, and let them be among those who eat at the table. For they say, come to me when I fled from Absalom, your brother. And see, you have with you Shem, the son of Geriah, a Benjamite from Mamaria, who cursed me with malice, curse in the days when I went to Mayhem, but he came down to meet me at the Jordan. And I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. Now, therefore, do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man and know that you ought to do to him, but bring his gray hair down to the grave with blood. So he's telling Solomon, take revenge on these guys. It's a bloody mess. He's telling him, go get them. He says, I made the promises while I was alive. That promise don't stand anymore. Now you're king. Go revenge me. He's telling him, go ahead. He says, go make right what they did wrong. We don't think about that. We don't think bloody mess in the Bible, is it? He's sitting there, get rid of him. It's what happens. That's for what they did wrong, they have to pay the price, don't they? So David sent Solomon to finish his deeds that he didn't get done. And then in verse 10 it says, so David rested with his father and was buried in the city of David. The period that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. 7 years he reigned in Hebron. In Jerusalem he reigned 33 years. Then Solomon sat on the throne of his father David, and his kingdom was firmly established. So this is where he said he was about 70 years, he was a little bit over 70 years old when it happened. Now we think that's a good age to live to, but that's what it was back then. And then in verse 13, he said, Solomon executed. Now Azur, the son of Haggai, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. She said, do you come peaceably? And he said, peaceably. Moreover, he said, I have something to say to you. And he said, say it. Then he said, you know that the kingdom was mine, and all Israel had set their expectation on me, that I should reign. However, the kingdom has been turned over and has become my brother's, for it was his from the Lord. Now I ask one petition of you, and do not deny me, he said to him, saying it. Then he said, please speak to the king Solomon, for you will not refuse you, that he will give me Ashbel, the Shunammite, as a wife. So Bathsheba said, very well, I will speak for you to the king. So here Solomon's brother, he's upset still, isn't he? Azar. Because he thinks Solomon stole his reign. But what does he want? He wants one of his father's concubines. And if you read in the first chapter when Scott was reading, she was the one that slept with David to keep him warm. They had no relationship. She just was there to keep him warm in his sick days. But his brother wants her. So what does he do? He gets his mother to go ask him. And so in verse 16 it says, Bathsheba therefore went to the king, Solomon, to speak to him for Azar. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed down to her and sat down on the throne. And he had a throne set for the king's mother. So she sat at his right hand. Then she said, I desire one small petition of you. Do not refuse me. And the king said to her, ask, it's my mother, for I will not refuse you. So she said, let Abzibah, the Shunammite, be given to Azar, your brother, as a wife. And King Solomon answered and said to his mother, now why do you ask Abzibah, the Shunammite, for Azar? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is my older brother. For him and Abner the priest, and for Joab the son of Zerubbabel, the king Solomon swore by the Lord, saying, may God do so to me, and more also, if Azar has spoken his word against his mother, his own life. Now therefore as the Lord lives, who has confirmed me and set me on the throne of David my father, to establish the house for me, he promised Azar shall be put to death today. So King Solomon set the hands of beneath the son of Judah, and he struck them down, and he died. You got to remember this brother here. What was he trying to do in chapter 1? If you go back, he was trying to overthrow. He was trying to get the kingdom for himself. So he set up where he was going to. His dad wasn't even dead yet, but he was going to put himself in charge. And in chapter 1, that's what he's going to do. So Solomon's going out and doing. He even got rid of his brother and the priests and everything that were against him, because he was revenging for when they did wrong for his father. And then in 28, and to Abar, the priest of the king, said, go to Athiam, to your own fields, for you're deserving of death. I will not put you to death at this time, because you carried the ark of the Lord God before my father David, and because you were afflicted every time my father was afflicted. So Solomon removed Abar from being a priest to the Lord, that he might fulfill the words of the Lord, which he spoke concerning the house of Eli at Shiloh. Then news came to Joab, for Joab had defeated Azar, though he had not defected to Aslan. So Joab fled to the tabernacle of the Lord and took hold of the horns of the altar. And King Solomon was told, and Joab has fled to the tabernacle of the Lord. There he is by the altar. And Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jelah, saying, go strike him down. So Benaiah went to the tabernacle of the Lord and said to him, thus says the king, come out. And he said, no, but I will die here. And Benaiah brought back words to the king, saying, thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. Then the king said to him, do as he has said, and strike him down and bury him, that you may take away from me and from the house of the father the innocent blood which Joab shed. So the Lord will turn his blood on his head, because he struck him down 2 men more righteous and better than he, and he killed them with the sword. Abner the son of Ner, the commander in the army of Israel, and Amos the son of Jether, and the commander of the army of Judah. Thus my father David did not know it. Their blood shall therefore return into the head of Joab, and upon his head descendants forever. Put up David and his descendants upon his house, and his throne shall be peace forever from the Lord. So Boaz, the son of Judah, went up and struck and killed him, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. The king put Benaiah the son of Jelah in place over the army, and the king put Zadok the priest in the place of Abner. For him striking other people dead, Solomon had him struck dead. Then the king sent and called to Shema, and said to him, build yourself a house in Jerusalem and dwell there, and do not go out from there anywheres. For it shall on that day you go out and cross the brook Kindra. Know for certain you shall surely die. Your blood shall be on your own head. And Shemuel said to the king, the saying is good, as my lord the king has said, so your servant will do. So Shemuel dwelt in Jerusalem many years. Now it happened at the end of 3 years that 2 slaves of Shemuel ran away to Achish, the son of Maacah, the king of Gath. And they told Shemuel, saying, look, your slaves are in Gath. So Shemuel rose, saddled his donkey, and went to Achish at Gath to seek his slaves. And Shemuel went and brought his slaves from Gath. And Solomon was told that Shemuel had gone from Jerusalem to Gath and had come back. Then the king sent and called to Shemuel and said to him, did I not make you swear by the Lord and warn you, saying, know for certain that on the day you shall go out and travel anywhere, you shall surely die? And you say to me, the word I have heard is good. Why then have you not kept your oath of the Lord and the commandment that I gave you? The king said moreover to Shemuel, you know as your heart knowledge all the wickedness that you did to my father David. Therefore the Lord will turn your wickedness on your own head. But King Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established before the Lord forever. So the king commanded Michal the son of Judah, and he went out and struck him down, and he died. Thus the king was established in the hands of Solomon. So here he was. This is the guy he told him, you got a chance to live, because his dad said he helped him out a lot. And he said, but you stay where you're supposed to. If not, you're going to get killed. What did he do? He didn't listen, did he? So Solomon went out and had him killed. You know, this shows us a lot that in our lives, sometimes when we do stuff and we think we got away with it, what happens out later on? Later on it comes back and strikes us, don't it? These guys did wrong, and David didn't go back after him, but Solomon came back. He had Solomon come back and take care of him. You know, in life, sometimes we do stuff and it don't come back to us till later on. And King, in here, this is warning us, you know, live by the Lord. Do what his promises are. And we won't have these problems, will we? Let's go to prayer.